Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Amber and I show you guys how I paint. And so today I just wanted to show you guys what I'm working on. I'm hosting a paint and wine night here on Friday, and I really wanted to practice the painting that I chose to go with, because the first round didn't boost my confidence for my ability to be able to share it. And so I thought I'd just sit down and kind of show you guys my thoughts on each of the paintings as I created them. So I'll just show you guys the first one because I have it right here and it's completely dry. So I made this the other day, and they're supposed to be orchids, and you can kind of see this one looks orchidly. So obviously I knew I had potential. It was just a matter of getting better at the skills. So today I created two more, and then I had some leftover paint, so I created a few just on wax paper. Sorry, I always call it wax paper. It's parchment paper. And I'll use those for a different project at a later date. However, I wanted to show you guys how to make them. I'm just going to video myself doing it and add some instructions. And then also what supplies I used and where you can buy your supplies. I don't know the names of the knives that I use for painting. I can show you the shapes of them, but I bought so many mixed packages of palette knives and paintbrushes when I first started. I don't actually know which ones are which. So yeah, trying to think if there's anything else. I think we can just go ahead and get started. Anyways, I hope you guys are doing well, and once again, welcome to my channel. Please like and subscribe. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel for more awesome content like this. I just continue to get better, and as I intend to host more paint parties, like paint nights and painting for kids, I will continue to share that with you guys so you can learn too. All right, so these are the supplies you're gonna need. You're gonna need some paper towel. So I use this. This is a wax paper that I use for my palette, or for my palette for my paint. And then I just tear off a new one and like add a layer on top when I'm ready to move on to the next round of colors. I use this titanium white by Gaffrey Art Materials. I use this Liquitex basic white, and then I use these colors. I prefer the magenta, but I'm running out, so I'd switch to quinacridone violet, which you can, use instead if you prefer. This is what I use for the centers. And then I also use these paints by Sennelier, which are heavy acrylic paints, and these are the colors. And then over here, this is what I use for the leaves, and these are just medium texture Gaffrey Art Material paint. And don't forget your piping bag. You're gonna need a piping bag for when you get to the stems. And then these are the knives that I used and the paintbrush. So it's just a small 1/2-inch flat brush. And I'm sorry, I don't know the numbers for these. This one I think has a 3 on it. And this one's just a petal knife. And I don't know what this number is. However, this is a shape. And I used these both for the leaves, and this one here for the flowers. All right, so I've been practicing some orchids, and these are the ones that I made with my excess paint from the other ones, and then I'm going to show you the first one I did, the second one I did, and then the third one. And I'm practicing this because I am going to be teaching a painting class coming up this Friday, and I just wanted to be very familiar with this technique since the first one, well, since each time I made it, I did notice some things I wanted to do differently to make it a little more easy, a little neater, a little more easy to explain, and so on and so forth. So I definitely prefer the magenta. So initially I was using the magenta, and then I switched to the quinacridone violet, and you can see the difference in the shades. I think I prefer the magenta. It's just so, it's a little bit brighter. So let's get started with the artworks. So this is the first one that I did, and this one's completely dry. So I'll give you guys some ASMR. This is what it sounds like. That's really cool. So this is the thickest one out of the three, and I had a lot of issues here in the centers. Obviously this is my favorite flower from this group. I really had some trouble because the leaves were so thick, and because this is all going to be done in one sitting, I didn't allow dry time because I wanted it to be realistic. So there's thick paint here in the background which covers the whole canvas, and then there's this, the pot, and then there's these leaves which are pretty thick. And so when I came to the flowers, which were the last layer, there were already so many layers underneath that it kept pulling the green up from beneath. So obviously wasn't a fan of that. It's not very easy to teach a beginner how to do something on this level of difficulty. So I finally got this one right, and then I felt a little bit better, because in the beginning I was feeling a little discouraged that it wasn't turning out the way I wanted it to. But this flower here turned out really well, so then I was like, okay, I can do this. So today I made this one, and it worked a lot better overall, but I still had a little bit of the green pulling through in the centers of the flowers, and I tried to hide it here, but I don't want to have to go in with a second swipe of the magenta to cover up the green. It just, I don't know, to me it just kind of screws up the beauty of just getting that one swoop with the gradation in it. So this was my second one. I still wanted to improve upon it, and I also didn't like how triangular this flower is, because these two petals really should be bigger. Like I said, this one over here, right here, this is my favorite. I never made them this small again, so that's definitely something to learn from. But I like how I was able to create all of these standing up in the direction I wanted, so I felt a lot more in control on this one. And then, because I still had so many layers in this one, I wanted to have less paint, less layers of paint, because this one also has a textured background, and it's a lot less so than the first one. But for this one, I didn't texture the background. I just did some white paint and then a little bit of gray, and I just swiped it back and forth to create the illusion of texture. And the pot itself is also pretty one-dimensional. It's nothing like the first one. The leaves are also smaller, and I did practice using a different knife. In the beginning, I've been using, so I don't actually know the numbers or the descriptions of these. Let's see. So in the beginning, I've been using this knife, which I really like, but it does hold a lot more paint, and then it doesn't make a very long leaf unless you do use lots of paint. So for the third one, I used one similar to this. It wasn't this one, but it was similar in shape. And I was able to create a longer, skinnier leaf, so it wasn't as deep of a layer. And then I still had a little bit of bleed through from the green in the center, but it wasn't that big of a deal. And then I figured out if I just scoop a center like I did over here, then that'll kind of take care of it, especially these. You can see I really like this one. I think this is a pretty accurate look. What I'm not such a huge fan of is the paleness of the background here. I really enjoy the contrast here. I think this is incredibly vivid and just eye-catching. And this one just feels a little blah in regards to the color. So for this one I used primarily Viridian green, and for this one I mixed Viridian and the phthalo green yellow shade. And I of course mixed both of them with white. But I do love phthalo green. It's one of my favorites. Phthalo green and magenta are just a beautiful combo, as you can see here. Over here, not so much. They're too close on the color wheel, so you don't get that sharp contrast. But I think what we'll end up doing for the paint class is we'll have this background and this general idea, and then we're going to use these colors. So I'm glad I'm really glad I made 3 rounds of it, because I feel a lot more capable of not only making what I want but also teaching it at the same time. And I've allotted for us to have a 2-hour class, so I think it should leave us plenty of time to just take our time and not worry too much about it. But I wanted to film it and share it with you guys at home so that you can also paint this if you want to. And I will post a link in the description so that you guys can buy your own paint and experiment with it at home. I really do love the colors on this one, and I do love the texture. I just think for a painting class, this is not the way to go. I think this is something that requires more time. Next time I would like to let this dry before adding the flowers, but you get better with practice, so you know, that's a good time. My gloves came today to use for gardening, and I had some stinging nettles that really needed to be taken care of, and I finally got them. So let me show you how nice my flowers look now. In this basket I had probably more weeds than I had regular plants, and so now all these 2 roses on each end both get way more sunshine now. And then I also trimmed back my jasmines, and they look so much happier. I didn't do much with these guys. My bougainvillea is taking a winter hibernation, but he should be coming back shortly. Ooh, look. You can see the little leaves, maybe? Yep. So I look forward to having more bougainvillea to show you guys this spring. It's gonna be amazing. Oh look, here I have a flower opening. Not quite yet, but in a few days. And then look at these jasmine. So these are new shoots for this year and they just look so good already. I'm so excited. It already feels almost like spring. And then these are my other plants. There's lantana on each end, but they're not looking too great yet. They're perennials, so they should come back. So I guess I'm just waiting to see them one day. And over here I have this guy. I just cut off 2 of the big leaves that were looking a little sad. But this one looks really beautiful. So I'm excited to see this one get pretty tall. It should get tall like maybe 5 feet. So it's gonna be beautiful. Some of these don't look too wonderful, but you know, we all need a break sometimes, so maybe it'll come back, maybe I'll need to replace it. But this is my neighbor's flowers, and I think I want to do flowers like that next year because those are amazing.